Okay, I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, the virtues of the masters, and mercy and compassion of the predecessors, transmitters, temple masters, lecturers, to give me this opportunity to talk today's topic, which is chapter 10, all right, of the Tao Te Ching, which is the title, or the unofficial title is called this, okay, mystic virtue, or it can be called this too, okay, 10 or Da, the heavenly great virtue, okay, and yeah, that's kind of like the main theme of this chapter. Okay. All right. So the first line, or first phrase rather, it's long. There are 17 phrases. Okay, 17 phrases to this chapter, and then there are the first. Let's see, the first. It's 12. 12 divided by 2. 6 phrases. Yeah, first 6 phrases is it's the first part. I mean, it's like the first part. Okay, part 1. Then the last 5 or 4 phrases is the conclusion. Okay, so unfortunately in this format it's hard to visualize it. But I guess if you look it up, well, even in the regular books, they don't divide it that way. So okay, never mind. Let's go forward. So basically, that's the one translation. Okay, it's in holding the soul and embracing the one. Okay, so the first word "zai" means to carry, hold, convey, etc. Okay, all right. Second word "yin." The verb is this. Okay, but contextually, it represents the yang force, or the hun part. Okay, the hun, the spirit of consciousness, you can say. Okay, then the third word po. See, that's why it goes together. Actually, it's hun po, would be hun po, because this is kind of repetitive. I mean, to carry, to operate, and to seek, carry and seek. Anyway, okay. So the third word po means the yin force. It's the yin force, really. Okay, it's the spirit of sense. Okay, of humans now. Hun and po. When we say hun and po, it has to do with humans. Okay. Literally, it could mean soul, spirit. It's the non-metaphysical spirit, energy. It's also called vigor, vitality, or even willpower. Okay. The fourth word, bao. It means literally to embrace, to hug, to carry or hold in arms, to cherish harder. Okay. Now the last word, yi. It means one, or oneness. Okay. So what it means is the oneness related to the Tao, which is the one absolute, the non-duality. You can say the absolute, the one and undivided, the unity of all things, the one true reality, universal Buddha nature, Dharma nature, etc., etc. Okay? All right. Okay. The basic meaning of to hold the soul, that's what the first half of the phrase is to what? Unify our sense of self in order to elevate to higher such a preference. Okay, so this just means it has to do with our chi, which I'll get to later. Okay, all right. It just means that's how we normal people. That's what this is a basic meaning. Normal people, hun and po, is in control, right? I mean, we use it, we utilize it. Okay, whether we meditate, doing yoga, etc., etc. Okay, all right. That's the external side. Remember, I talked about the external. Okay, then just the internal. Sorry. There's another meaning. The internal is to cherish and embrace our mystical port. Okay, which is the first treasure, or mystic port. Okay, that's because it has to do with this, right? The one, right? Externally, it can mean to hold the hand seal or mudra. Okay, and you'll see that later on in the chapter. Okay, having to do with infant and baby. Okay, anyway, all right. Okay, so the higher understanding. So the generic term is, we call it soul. Okay, we call it the hun po, soul. Okay, I mean that's generic. It can be say spirit. I mean sometimes we use the term interchangeably, and sometimes so it gets confusing. But anyway, so the term soul is really 3 parts. It has 3 parts. It has a spirit, So sometimes we interchange, spirit, soul, so it gets confusing. It has spirit, Hun, and Po. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, that's what it is. All right. So the spirit is the essence, or the soul, sorry, is the essence of these three. Okay, all right. Okay, which is the spirit, the Hun, and Po. Okay, now, and like I talked about earlier, the Hun has three parts. You can say that. Okay, three parts. The spirit of consciousness are three parts, and and where are they? We say, oh, I have to find out where. We have to, prove where they. Well, they're throughout our nervous system. So that's why the nervous system is you can say is like the contains, if you will, the Hun Qi. That's what we also say. That is the Hun Qi. It has that life force or energy. You can say energy, life force. Okay, all right. That's why, and it's in our nerves, or throughout our nerves. Let's put it this way. Okay, and that's why one way of interpreting it from the external is to say, oh, because we have nerves, so therefore we can sense, right? We can, right? I mean, because if you think of how what called in medicine that drug that what's the right term, that cuts off our nervous system's transfer, because the nervous system are a bunch of cells, right? That are what they call it, the neuron and the axon and all that stuff, and they have those, if you look at a nerve cell, it has those like not roots, but like those tiny, what's the term? Those long, thin, not fingers, but trail, which
dendrites.
Yeah, dendrites, that's it, which connect to another nerve cell. And so those drugs that make you numb, like if you take Novocaine, for example, right? Novocaine or what's another drug? Common drug, that they use a lot in World War II, but it's very addicting. What the heck is that?
Morphine.
No, yeah, morphine. Yeah, morphine. Derivative of opium. It's just derivative of opium. What it does, it releases certain, I forgot, chemicals or something that will fill in that gap between the nerve cells, right? So therefore, there's no pain because there's the nerves, let's say, the nerve cell that's in pain or that can sense that pain, right? And what it does is it'll transmit certain chemicals, right? Chemical markers to the next cell, right? To the next nervous cell, and then keeps going all the way to your brain, to your pain center or whatever, in this case, a pain center. And then that's how you say, oh, I'm in pain, right? Okay. Or this part of my body is in pain. So what morphine, Novocaine, all those drugs does is they release some chemicals that go in between the nerve cells, right? And so it blocks the transfer of that it's a chemical. It's also a chemical between the two nerve cells. So therefore, what happens? Your brain doesn't get the message, right? So you'll say, hey, I don't feel pain. You don't feel anything. I mean, you may feel something, not pain necessarily, but something else, right? So that's how drugs work. Okay, I mean, the painkillers work. Okay, all right. So that's why the nerves, is like, contains this Hun. Okay, so basically that what I'm saying is that those painkillers, I'm saying cut, but isolates. Maybe that's a better term. Isolates the Hun Qi from what? Transferring or passing on the information to your brain. Okay. All right, okay, so you all see this chart, okay? So that's what the three components are. They're dispersed throughout the nerves. Now, whether it resides in the liver, and then that, I can't say, but that's what the book says. I don't mean, so people say, well, what about if we have a liver transplant? what happens to that one person's life force goes to another person's? I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, because when they, how can I say? Usually when they do the liver transfer, isn't it from a person who just passed away, and then they have a donor card, and then they immediately harvest their heart or lung or liver in this case, and put it on. So another thing to know about the Hun and Pe is that when one dies, okay, the Hun and Pe also dies. You know that? Except for one thing. Except for this. That's why it's called Yu Hun. Yu Hun is here. Let's look at Yu Hun. Yu Hun is literally, it means Yu means to roam, to travel, to roam. Okay, to roam about. This is the component of the Hun that will survive when we say, quote unquote, a human being dies, okay, or an animal, for that matter, okay, an animal dies, okay. Now, these two, the growth chi, or growth life force, and the sensational perception, they will die. It takes some time. I think it's 7 days or 7 days, something like that, okay? All right? I think it's 7 days. Anyway, okay. How many? Oh, no, 49 is different. 49, I'll get to 49 later. Okay, so anyway, these two will die. You know that? So it's not a spirit in the sense of we think of a spirit, right? Because we think of a soul or spirit as one that lives forever, right? That's eternal, afterlife, etc., right? But not these two components. Make sense? So also that's why these two, if they're in, they're not considered. So here, here's why, another reason. Now we're talking about metaphysical now. Okay, metaphysics. Another reason why we don't kill. Okay, so if these two we know will die, are not everlasting, so we're not really killing them. Unlike this, understand? Okay, so animals have this, right? Plants at best have these two, at best, okay? They may not have all of this. They definitely have this, okay? So when we kill plants, i.e. we cut the veggies or whatever, or cook the veggies or whatever, yeah, you're killing there, right? This, but you don't have this to kill, right? Or whatever, okay? So that's another reason why, we don't eat animals. It's because they still have this. And this, after we kill the animals or the fish or the birds, etc., this will, the soul spirit, you, because I don't have another term, okay? Will continue to survive after death. Get it? So that's why another reason we don't kill animals is because they have this, and by killing this, we have this. They still live, and they'll and this is the one. This yu hun, okay. This yu hun is connected to this, to the ling hun. It should be ling hun, ling xing. Okay, we say ling xing. It's connected to this. Okay, this is the one that's connected to this, and this is the one that the yu hun is the one that will either go to, let's say even for animals, it's possibility. If we want to become remember I talked about the 6 paths, right? We know about the 6 paths of reincarnation. It's this component along with this that accompanies together to go to whatever realm, afterlife. It could be celestial realm, right? Remember? Asura realm. What was the other one? Wandering ghost. Is it wandering ghost? No, hungry ghost. Sorry, hungry ghost. What else? Animal, right? And or underworld. So it's these two, okay, that goes to the, that will reincarnate, if you will, into another form in those 6 paths. Get it? Okay. So it's these two that will feel pain, etc., etc. Okay, because when they take another form in the other realm, they then also will have this. Make sense? Maybe not this, but at least this. Okay? All right? All right, so that's, this is too metaphysics, but at least you can understand. Okay, now let's talk about the poor part. Okay, the poor, I call it seven. It's also spirit of sense, but spirit of sense, a lot of people don't understand what it means. Okay, it's dispersed among the 6 sense organs. Okay, so, the 5 senses plus our mind, which then give rise to 6 desires, we say, right? 6 desires, corresponding to the 6 senses. And then they generate the 7 emotions, after contacting the 6 objects, okay? All right, so what are the 7 emotions? That's this, okay? There are 3 pairs and 1 standalone. So joy and rage, those are opposites, right? Joy and rage. Happiness and sorrow, those are opposites, right? Love and hate, opposites. So 3 pairs of and these are the general emotions, right? People say, I take pleasure. Pleasure is it's not really an emotion. It's a pleasure means that you enjoy something. So it could be this. It could be more like this. Or even this, right? Okay. Or even this too. But anyway. And then the last one is lust. Okay. Or desire. Okay. Yin or yu. Okay. So these are the 7 emotions. And that's what the 7 vitalities generate. Okay? These 7, or they correspond. Now, okay, talk about the 40 days, the 49 days. Here's what happens. These 7 vitalities, or spirit of sense, if you will take 49 days to dissipate. They also die. Remember I said, the only one that, when the soul or spirit leaves the human body, then the Hun and Po will perish. Okay, except for the Hun, only this component will live on or continue, whereas the growth and the perception will also perish. And this, I think each takes 7 days. I'm not so sure about the Hun, but I think that's what generally says, or 7 and 14 or something like that. Anyway, okay. Whereas the Po, it's very interesting. It takes 49 days. It's 7 each. We say 7, 7 times 7 is 49, right? So that's why they say, this, you can say it's a type of energy, right? Qi, it's a type of force, some kind of force, vitality, we call it, right? Vitality will take 49 days to dissipate. Now, when a baby is born, when an infant, okay, it's in the womb, right? It doesn't have this yet. You know that? It doesn't have this yet. Okay. It's not technical. Actually, when the spirit, under conception, okay, technically in conception, supposedly, that's when this will start forming. Yeah, these 2, okay, will start forming. But it's not fully developed because supposedly this one, I'm talking about in the womb, okay? I'm talking about in the womb. This one is still not there, not in it. Yeah, very interesting. This is according to the Taoism or something like that, okay? You can read this up in the 99 questions, and some other material, but 99 questions gives you just a brief introduction, okay? So when in conception, as the fetus is developing, this is when they develop too, okay? The Hun and Po. And specifically, it's this, okay? It's this with the exception of the 3rd one, the 3rd Hun. The 3rd Hun, when does it show up? When does it show up? After the baby is born. That's when you slap the baby, right, on the butt, and boom, they'll start crying. That's guaranteed that then this Yu-Hun, or traveling or wandering Hun, vitality, is already in the child or in the baby, in the infant. Get it? Because that's linked with this, okay? Okay, and which it's all 3, right? And so that when this is in the baby, then we know that then the spirit is in the baby. Get it? Okay? So if this is not in the baby, then even though the spirit may be in the baby, it will not live. The baby will not survive. So that's why you have stillbirths, right? People call stillbirths, right? Stillbirths, they have this. They have growth, sensation, and probably some of this, but they don't have this. Okay? So that's how they explain it. All right? Whew, it gets complicated, but this is, this is metaphysics anyway. But okay, so that's what it is. All right? So that's, now let's go talk about the one. Okay? What is the one? The one is the Tao. So if we know the Tao, right, then you realize, okay, literally means to know and to obtain everything completely. Okay? Okay, everything is completed, achieved, and concluded, meaning that there's nothing more to get, okay, or to obtain. Nothing. There's nothing. It's everything's whole. It's whole. It's like saying, paramita. You reach the other shore, right? So, what is there else to do? You're already at the other shore, right? Okay. So that's basically what you say. You know the one, then everything is whole. It's complete. It's finished. It's done. You don't need to cultivate anymore, right? I mean, there's no need. All right, okay, or that's why I say concluded or completed, okay? So now, this thing about the one, very interesting how why they use the one as a metaphor for the Tao, for example. So the Tao, you can expand that one dot, if you will, to form a circle, or that one line, you draw in a circle, right? You can draw around a sphere, right? That becomes a circle. It forms a circle which transforms into the void or emptiness, okay? True emptiness. So it encompasses everything where nothing is beyond it. So it's all encompassing. So it's just nothing beyond it. It's everything. You can say it's everything, right? It's everywhere. It's right. It's everywhere. Okay. Now you can also shrink the circle into a tiny point, which represents our mystic. We can say represents our mystic portal. So that's why we also point to the one. Right? When we say the one also implies our mystic portal because it can shrink to that tiny point. All right? So the point can be infinitesimally small, where nothing is smaller than it. So if we talk about elementary particle physics, right? Today they say, there's nothing smaller than the atom. Well, that's wrong, because the atom is made up of what? Protons, neutrons, electrons. But then the protons, neutrons, electrons, it's a particle too, by itself, okay? But I think it's made up of photons too. I don't remember, but at least protons and neutrons are made up of even tinier or smaller particles. Usually, I think there are two types, right? Generally, it's quarks and, is it bosons or something? Bosons. And then within the quark, and then within the boson, they subdivide it even further. So altogether, there are like, I don't know, several dozen particles. But all of these particles, even though they make up the proton, neutron, etc., cannot be smaller than the Tao either. The Tao is still even smaller than it. Okay, so it's, this is metaphysics, okay, theoretical. Okay, all right. So then now, even when it's a circle, when the one is in a circle, you can cut it. You can cut the circle and stretch it. Then it becomes a line or a one. That's a one, right? Infinitely long line, okay? Infinitely long line, or infinitely short, or infinitesimally short, okay? Okay, so this one has infinite transformations. That's what I'm trying to lead to, okay? So the beginning of all numbers is what? One. Right? Everything starts with one. So infinity begins with one, okay? Okay, so the one is the essence of the Tao, okay? All right, the principle, the essence, okay? All right, the deeper meaning for the phrase is this. It's to manage our souls by cherishing or embracing the Tao, literally to hold from the great Tao. To manage ourselves by abiding the Tao. Now, this is similar to what Mencius said, okay, in the Book of Mencius, Book 2, it's the title of this is Gong Sun Zhou. Okay, Gong Sun Zhou, here it is. That's one of his disciples' name. Okay, that's a disciple. Zhou. Gongsun means the grandson of a duke. Okay, Gong is a duke. Yeah, I think Gong's a duke. Ducal or duke. I think it's a duke. Ho is a duke. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a prince or duke, something like that. Okay, so it's in part 1. There are 2 parts, 2 books. Chapter 2, 11 to. This is a long chapter, very long chapter, like 28 paragraphs or something. But he talks about fostering the spirit of nobility without a perturbed mind. In essence, that's what it is. Okay, so it's about yang qi. Okay, which is, he talks about yang qi means the hun and pe. Okay, all right. So as a matter of fact, on this chapter, the first 8 phrases are all talking about, managing our soul, embracing the Tao. That's the topic. Okay, all right. The implication is that we must take responsibility. Okay, all right, by ourselves, to bear the responsibility for our souls. Okay, literally to bear. Need to manage our own souls, then abide firmly, and then once we have firmly embraced this and that, then there are no more issues. Okay, so that's the goal. You can say that's the goal of in our cultivation. So the key point is this: if we can realize the one, okay, then it's to already realize the root or source. That is to already know the origin. So therefore, everything is achieved. I mean, it's like saying parameter, reaching the other shore. Then you're enlightened. You can say you're enlightened. Okay? All right, so that's the meaning of that 5 words. Okay? All right, these 5 words. Okay. All right, then, but it's connected. Okay, this first phrase is connected with the second phrase. Okay? Okay. So translation basically is this: can one be steadfast? Or it's more than steadfast. It's actually in the later phrases, it's actually be still. You can say still, calm, etc. Without strain. Okay, so let's do the dictionary meaning of the words. The first word means able, capable. Second word means not, without, okay, or to lack. All right. Now the third word means to depart or to deviate from. Okay. Now this last word doesn't have a meaning. It's an ancient. In ancient use, it means question mark. It's the question mark. Okay. All right. So basic meaning means, can you do the above without straying from the path of Tao or oneness? Okay. The first phrase. That's this phrase. Okay. Right? Can you do, that's what these two are connected, okay? So can you do this, right? Basically knowing the one, okay? Knowing the Tao, basically to know, understand the Tao, realize the Tao without straying, okay? Without deviating, all right? So that's the basic meaning. Another meaning is this: in life, it's about keeping to your principles, even when doing so. Okay, so that's the practical side, the more mundane aspect, okay? Okay, so the basic understanding of not to depart from the Tao is to not depart from the Tao. Basic understanding of this phrase, okay? And the deeper meaning is to not depart from our what? Innate knowledge and ability of ethics, which it'll talk about in the later phrases, okay? All right? So this first 2 phrases, first sentence, if you will, or whatever, 2 phrases, it sets the agenda, sets the menu. Okay, all right, for this chapter. And so the higher understanding just means that it's not to deviate from our conscience or morality. Yes, conscience and morality is part of this. It's part of our this. Okay, right. So not to deviate. Okay, and the implication is to this: is to reach the state of non-deviation from Tao. That's what this phrase means. Okay, we have to be on the right track, be on the track, okay, not to deviate, okay? So as cultivators, we must take responsibility for our souls, that's for ourselves, for our moral, by not deviating from the Tao. Then our attitudes in coping with our lives will be very ideal, or very real, true, okay? All right, let's go to the second, it's the second sentence, if you will, second pair of phrases, okay? So it's, in concentrating the energy and reaching relaxation. Okay, that's how, one translation is. Okay, All right, so let's meet the first word. What's the first word? The first word means to focus, to concentrate. It can mean special, especially. Okay, that's what it is. Concentrate or focusing. Okay, so the second word, qi. Okay, we talked about hun and pe, right? That's qi too. It's the vital energy, life force that circulates throughout the body. Okay, all right. So, and then the third word means to arrive, to reach, to the utmost, to the extreme. Okay, last word, rou, literally means, it can mean soft, supple, flexible, pliant, yielding. Also means gentle, mild, relaxed. Okay? So the basic meaning of this phrase is saying by concentrating our life energy, we can reach to its highest or most calm state. Okay? So that's what we talked about. Where is it? The calmness. Where do we talk about the calmness? Whatever. Okay, up here someplace. All right? All right. Okay. Didn't we talk about the calmness? No, I'm forgetting where we are. Okay, it doesn't matter. All right. So it has to be a calm state, okay? So the deeper meaning is this, to focus the energy, arriving at the most relaxed state, to be focused on the one. Okay, I think we talk about here on the one someplace. All right, okay. Anyway, okay, so by focusing on the one is to return to our original state. That's the same thing, okay? So that's why we have to focus, all right? Focus. So when he says reaching relaxation means to reach to the what? State of, what do you call it? Stillness, right? Stillness or unperturbedness, right? Undisturbed, right? Absolute state, you can also say that. We'll talk about that later too. Okay, so the key point is this. By focusing our energy allows us to concentrate our mind, and reaching relaxation is to reach the calmest state, to reach the purest and most peaceful state. Okay, you can say, yeah, that's the Dharma Dhatu, Ju Jing Jie. We talk about that later, but anyway, similar, okay? All right, so the key, so that's this is the third phrase, okay, or the beginning of the second pair, okay? First half, the second pair. Then the second pair, the second half of the second pair or fourth phrase, it's this. Can one be like an infant? Okay, question mark, right? This, okay, so the meaning of this, inger, means infant, baby, bambino, okay, all right? So the basic meaning is this, is to be an infant is like is to have the purest qualities of an infant, i.e. what? They don't have differentiating thoughts, and they're pure, right, untainted, right? We say innocent, right, for example. And I'm talking about infants, okay? I'm not talking about a, like 3-year-old, 5-year-old who started, learning things, right? Or observing people, observing parents, et cetera, okay? But I'm saying infant, like the infant that you would see in the maternity ward, for example, right? Usually, they're all, at least less than a month old, right? Maybe, okay? 2-3 months old, okay? Roughly, okay? So they are the pure, right? They are pure. They don't differentiate, right? And then they're untainted. They don't have any likes, dislikes, prejudices, etc., right? Okay. So that's the basic understanding. So the higher understanding is by focusing on the one, 专一, right? Remember we talk about 专气, right? 专气 to without strain, or to embrace the one. Remember, right? Okay. We can return to the origin of the infant, whose primordial spirit and energy are abundant. Okay, understand? Okay. In Lecture Liu's material, he spent a long, substantial time talking about, how a baby, example, a baby can cry, right? Can cry for a long time without having their mouths go dry. Whereas we humans are, after we get older, we'll get dry mouth, etc., etc. So the babies have that primordial energy and spirit, which doesn't seem to run out. Okay, and baby can be very tireless. They can romp around, whatever. And we humans, we mothers or trying to care for them, will get tired, okay, quicker than they can. Okay, so he was talking about the examples, right? Okay, but the deeper meaning is this. It's being able to return to an infant. Remember? Okay, it's can you be like an infant, right? It's to be able to return to our heavenly nature, to be at one with our original nature. That is the meaning of the child in the third treasure, right? Remember, we talked about the third treasure a lot, right? When we explain it to people, right? The third treasure in Chinese, the word becomes a what? Child, right? It should be really infant, okay? But anyway, so it's a child, right? And the child means what? It is to return to our heavenly nature or original nature, okay? Or the child that doesn't cry, the baby that doesn't cry, the cryless child. Okay, so that's why I said, remember up here, the external is to hold to the hand seal, right? That one, okay? Same idea, okay? The third treasure, all right? Which is the child, right? All right, okay. So the key point is this: to reach the state of an infant, or the condition, we are able to preserve the primordial or conserve the primordial spirit essence and energy, just like the state of an infant. Okay? So that's why even we could be an adult, but we could reach the state of an infant. Then when we go to the one, or focus on the one, or return to the one, our energy, essence, spirit, etc., is infinite. Right? It transcends. Okay? It's what call that? It's inexhaustible. Okay? Or limitless. Right? Okay. So that's the second pair. Right? Second pair. So that's 3 and 4. So let's go to 5th and 6th phrases. The next pair. Okay. So here's the translation. Okay. In cleansing away the worldly view. Okay. So the first two words, that's 地除, right? 地除. It means to wash away, to cleanse away, to do away, to eliminate, to remove. Okay, the third word, 玄, means abstruse, mysterious, profound. Remember in chapter 1, it talks about it, right? 玄之又玄, right? Okay, so it just means something that's mysterious, profound, obscure. It also means dark too, by the way, but it just gives you that. Okay, then the last word, what's this last word? Pronounced as what? Lan, right? Is it lan? Okay, pronounced as lan, which means what? It means to look at, to view, to read, to inspect, to perceive, to visit. Okay, but actually, when you combine the two words, those last two, third and fourth word, it means this. Okay, it means basically worldly knowledge, worldly wisdom, lots of learning, knowledge, and sights. It should be insights, by the way. No, sights. Okay, worldly knowledge, worldly experience. A lot of book learning, or it doesn't have to be book learning, but just a lot of experience, learning, etc. It's all knowledge. Okay, all something that we acquire. Okay, so the key point is something that we all acquire. Okay, so what's the basic meaning of this phrase? It just means to get rid of this. Okay. Well, you gotta see it. Okay. Get rid of shallow understanding, views, and knowledge delusions. What's a knowledge? I mean, it's an oxymoron, right? Because people say, well, the more knowledge you have, how can you have more delusion? Actually, it means barrier. But in Buddhism, it becomes translated as knowledge delusions. Okay. Okay, it's this. It's 所知障. Okay, it's from. It's in the glossary, by the way. Okay, that's a new addition to the glossary. Okay, it's part of what they call the term called 恶障, mean two barriers or hindrances. Okay, you'll see at the bottom of at the appendix. Okay, right here, the 2 barriers or hindrances, 恶障. Okay, or 恶爱. There are different type of sets, but this is the most common one. It's the first one is passion and delusions, which is 烦恼, 障. And the second one is 知障 or 所知障. Okay? It means knowledge. We take the seeming as the real, which is a hindrance to it. Seeming means what? Seeming means things that are not everlasting, not true, right? Appears as real. Okay, so that means all knowledge. Because why? All knowledge is acquired. Get it? Okay, anyway. So let's go back. Okay. Where are we? Okay, right here. All right. So knowledge barriers are also delusions. Because why? this is especially true for people who are very well educated, who has like multiple PhDs and whatnot. Once they learn, they have accumulated all that knowledge, all wealth of experience, or even experience, okay, knowledge, experience. Then they become what? Attached to them. And they become stuck on them. And then, remember, was it last chapter? We talk about the overflowing cup. It becomes like that condition. Understand? Okay, they think that they know everything. They can't even accept any more new ideas, etc., etc. Okay, or different ideas. Maybe different. Maybe not necessarily new, but different ideas. Okay, or different views, etc. So therefore, it becomes a what? All that knowledge, all that experience, all that whatever they have accumulated, became a what? A barrier. So that's why it's called knowledge delusion. Okay, this is important to know, right? So we have to be careful. Okay, the more we learn, we have to be particularly careful about that. Okay, all right. So the deeper meaning is by realizing the one, literally embracing the one, and being in the common state, right? 知柔, right? Remember we talked about role here? Oh no, we didn't talk about it here. It comes later. Sorry, jumping the gun here. So like an infant, because when I don't know, those of you who are recent grandparents or whatever will probably notice that, right? When you're holding your grandchild, they're so soft, right? They're so soft. Their skin's so smooth, etc., etc. So that's the physical aspect. I'm talking about the internal. Is that they soft, they're calm, they're okay. They're this. All right. So all our worldly knowledge, learning, views, are cleaned out, all removed. Because when you're a baby, do you know everything? Of course not. You know nothing. You don't even know how to talk, right? You don't even know the language or alphabet, whatever. Okay, or sounds for that matter, right? So anyway, okay. So we don't need all these extraneous, external stuff. That's why it's called worldly learning. Okay, all right, or 凡尘所知道. Okay, all right. So the deeper understanding is this: is what we gain, i.e., learned in this world, could also be lost. So also what we learn and stored in our minds may not be compatible with the truth, or may be incompatible, or may not be proper, right? Okay, things like, literally this means 格格不入. This is not ren, this 入 means to go inside, to enter. It means, it's an idiom, I think it's an idiom. It means try to put a square peg into a circle, or vice versa, a circle or a round peg into a square hole or something like that. It just means that it's incompatible, doesn't fit, doesn't match, okay? Because, a lot of things that we learn externally has nothing to do with our Buddha nature, or it's not innate, intrinsic of our Buddha nature, okay? All right, so that's why there's good and evil, right? That's why, obviously, good and evil, okay? Duality, all that, okay? All right, the higher understanding is this: to be able to get rid of all worldly matters is to cling away all worldly things. So to let go of all karmic affinities and not thought arise. Okay, so that's why Lecture Liu always emphasizes this. All right, why? Because if you do this, you are doing this. Okay, and if you are doing this, then you are getting this. Okay, so et cetera, et cetera. All right, okay, you're going back to our original state. Okay, obviously, that should be pretty obvious, right? Okay, all right, so the implication is this: by removing all worldly attachments, we can manifest our what? That's the important part, Mahaprajna wisdom, which is different from worldly wisdom. Okay, remember we talked about knowledge delusions? Okay, you can say that has worldly wisdom. Okay, that's worldly wisdom. Okay, all right, so the important thing is this. It's this, okay? And why is Mahaprajna wisdom? Because that's the innate. Remember we talk about the, do I talk about up here? Where's the up here? Up here, the 良知良人. Where's that? 良知良人. oh man, it's too much. This is hard to read. That's what I like about this. But anyway, okay. Then I talk about the innate conscience and stuff up here.
Yeah, previous screen.
Yeah, where? Which one? Where?
On
Here?
on
Right here? Which one?
up.
Further up. Okay. Remember I talked about 良知良能? Didn't I talk about that? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Innate knowledge. Okay. 良知良能. Right?
Line number 8,
Yeah. Okay. So it's the same reference. Okay. Because because remember this is there's a sequence. Okay, to what Lao Tzu is saying. So it makes very I would say logical, but it makes a lot of sense. There's a sequence. Okay. There's a sequence. Okay. All right. So same thing from here, right? Not to deviate. Okay. From our 良知良能. Okay. Or 良心. Okay. Where are we? Right here. Okay, right here. Okay, now, why is worldly wisdom different from our Maha Prajna? Right? Remember Maha Prajna, I say, is the original. Okay, because why? Worldly wisdom has a tendency, or you can say component, for cleverness or smartness. 聪明的倾向. Get it? 倾向 means a tendency. You can say propensity, bias. It could mean bias too. Okay, but anyway, all right? So that's the difference, okay? Where 凡尘的机会, okay? 凡尘的智慧, okay? Worldly knowledge. You can say worldly experience, worldly knowledge. Different from here, okay? And that's very important because this is what every Buddha nature has. I mean, this is you can say it's a function of our essence, okay? All right, it's a function, okay? Or you can say quality too. It's a trait, okay? All right, so the key point is this. By letting go of all worldly matters, we are able to enter the ultimate true void everywhere. Or you can say Dharma Dhatu. Okay, so 一生入以后真的尽虚空偏法界, which is the unperturbed true Buddha nature, 如如不动的真心复性. Okay, to attain the realization of the original nature, okay, 到达正悟本性, that is neither knowing nor feeling, 无知无觉, where there is neither space nor time barrier, 没有时间跟空间的障碍, all is in the moment. So you're beyond space and time. So you're beyond the constraint or limitation. You can say limitations of space and time. Understand? Whereas here, where is it? Worldly wisdom is limited by space-time. Understand? Okay? Whereas our Mahaprajna or 般若妙智慧 is not. There's no space and time. It's not constrained, not limited. Get it? There's neither knowing or feeling. Because remember the Hun and Po, right? We have to acquire the knowing and the feeling. We'll talk about later. We'll talk about later at the very end, towards the end, okay? The opposite of this, okay? Where the state of our Buddha nature is, okay? So this is neither knowing, there's no need to acquire knowledge or acquire sensation. You get it? Okay, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Okay, so this is the third pair, right? The third pair, the sixth, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth phrase. Then the sixth phrase is this, is the question mark, okay? Is can one be without imperfections? Okay, so 无 means not, without, lack, okay? 痴, right? This is 痴, right? 痴 means fault, flaw, blemish, imperfection, okay? So if we can do all this, right? Do this, which is to do all this, right? Which is to do all that. Then will we be not perfect? We would be perfect, of course, right? So because the basic meaning is this, would not one be flawless by removing shadow knowledge, worldly knowledge, etc., okay? Of course. So removing all worldly knowledge, okay? 地处玄然, right? Leads to the manifestation of what? The unperturbed true original nature, 如如不动的真心不净, which is perfect and flawless, okay? So emptying all desires to its utmost, okay, the essence is manifested. It's displayed or comes out, which is the true eternal true Buddha, which is the eternal true Buddha. Okay? All right. Remember, these desires is the pawpaw. Remember, we say the paw, right? The paw from the first phrase. Okay? All right. So this higher understanding. Buddha nature is perfect. Impeccable means perfect. Same thing. Or flawless. Flawless, perfect. Because it is what? Changeless, eternal, self-sufficient, innately endowed with the 10 liberations, right? We have that, right? We talked about that before in other chapters, previous chapter. Okay, so whatever we learn in this world, whatever we know, 所知道的, cleaning them all away, 这些都把它洗涤干净, okay, until there are no more desires. 没有妄. When all desires are empty, the true self will manifest, arriving to where there are no more imperfections. That is the state of perfection. Or one, you can say oneness, one. Okay? All right? This means imperfection. Okay? 瑕疵, right? Means imperfection, right? Okay. All right, so that's the third phrase, third phrase, the sixth phrase, third. Okay, then comes the last component. Well, there's two more, but okay. Then this this is the seventh phrase, okay, of the fourth pair, okay. So in the translation is pretty much this, direct translation. In loving people and ruling the nation, okay. That's the first. The second half is here. One be without many. Okay, so that's the question. Okay, so but what does it mean by loving the people and ruling? Okay, so first this means to love. Okay, the word, first word. Second word means people, citizen, okay, national. Third word literally means to govern, to administer, okay, that's the verb and noun. Fourth word means country, nation, state. Okay, so basic meaning on a broader level, it means, if you're ruling a nation, right, it's advice to the king on how to rule wisely, okay, with benevolence, ethics, equality, fairness, etc., right? The Confucian principles, okay, right? So that's on a very superficial level, okay? That's on a broad level too. On a narrow level, it's talking about individuals, okay? Advice for individual requires their conducts, managing relationships with people, as well as managing our tasks in life, prioritizing tasks, time management, planning for the future, making decisions, et cetera, okay? That's basic, okay? So there's a broad and narrow, okay, scope, right? But the deeper meaning is this. Okay, to love people is to have self-respect for oneself. Okay, that's very important. Okay? So when he says love the people, it doesn't mean external. Okay? External means to love others, right? It's not wrong, but what Lao Tzu is trying to get at is that you have to have respect for yourself first, to have self-love. We say 自爱, okay? 爱自己, 我们自己, okay? 自爱, self-regard. I call it self-love. That's why I don't want to say self-love, because self-love is 自恋, right? 自怜, right? 自恋. It's called, the word is 恋, right? It means narcissist, right? Narcissism means what? To what? To go overboard, right? To have self-regard. I mean, you can say ego, but ego is a little bit different. Okay, all right. Okay, so it means that 自恋. Okay, so it's not narcissist. It's to love yourself, is have self-respect and regard, to realize that we all have a self nature, Buddha nature, and to cherish as well as respect. Okay, that's what it means. So it's just. So we do not immediately extern outwardly. We don't need to extern out. Rather, we have to start within ourselves first. Okay? All right, that's what the I means. So the higher understanding means it's similar. We talk about great learning, right? Great learning. Right? Do we talk about great learning? Okay. Okay, where am I? All right. Okay. The great learning is to learn the essence of Tao. 大学之道, to realize and cultivate our true nature, to become a new person and no longer the old person, to achieve the state of ultimate excellence. Okay? So that's from Great Learning, chapter 1, right? for verse 1. Okay? So what does that mean? Okay. The great, okay. We have a separate topic about this, so I don't want to go into too much detail. But anyway, so let's talk about this. So the deeper understanding of ruling a nation. What does ruling a nation mean? Okay, we know what I mean is, right? To have self-respect for oneself first. Then what does governing a country mean? It means by starting to loving ourselves first, where we will become a new person. Okay, that new person, remember we talk about this, is to have already manifested brightly our Buddha nature. Okay, to embrace that one, remember? Okay, then extend as a new person, okay, to that to the entire family. So right, we and that's like loving others, right? Loving people, okay? So that's the external, okay, part of loving people, loving others. So we extend that, you can say love, okay, to the entire family. Then after the family is managed well, okay, or managed well, I don't say, okay, or it's doing well, then extend that to the rest of society. I say society, it just literally means neighbors and village, which is society, which is the rest of the country, okay? So that's how you start. So by ruling a country. Get it? Start of ruling a country is what? You start with yourself, then with your family, then with neighbors, then your village or town, etc., okay? That's how that's what the great learning chapter 1 is talking about, okay? So the implication is this, okay? To love people means to be able to love ourselves first. Before we can love others, okay? We have to love ourselves first before we can love others. If we have not started to cultivate yet, then we should not even think about governing a nation now. Why? And love people later. Why? Because that would be literally it's unrealistic. It just means it's contrary to the practice of Tao, okay? It's backwards. So today, let me ask you, or throughout most of history, why are the countries so screwed up, so messed up? Because why? We want to govern a nation first, then we love people later. All right? Understand? Okay? So there's a lesson, okay? And that's a proof, right? Okay? All right, anyway, okay. All right, okay, so key point is this. We must become a new person first. Okay, see higher understanding, it means up here, right? Under the great learning, same thing, okay? So we can return to that bright Buddha nature to become a new person and not an old person. An old person means, a person who obviously do not understand the principles of Tao, okay, let alone other stuff, okay, even basic principles of Tao. It's our habitual nature, okay? Lecture Liu talked about it in great detail. I didn't want to spend too much time, otherwise it would be too long. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is the fourth phrase now, okay? In loving people and ruling the nation, then the question is, can one be without manipulation? Yeah, Wu Wei, that's the translation. I don't care. We'll talk about it later, okay? But so the meaning of Wu means not, okay? Wei means to act. It can be a verb or a noun too, I guess, yeah. Verb, yeah, okay. All right, to act, becoming, take action, accomplish, achieve. Okay, these are all verbs. Okay. Anyway, okay, so the basic meaning means on the level of governance, at every level, like, can you do the above here, all this, not just this, but even higher, okay, all of these, all of the previous 4 phrases, okay, above without meddling. Now, I don't like that term. Okay, so Lao Tzu recommended leadership without attachments, interference, and manipulative schemes. So partially this is true, okay, on the surface level, on a shallow level, basic level. Remember chapter 3, An Ming Zhang, we talked about it, right? So I don't want to spend time, but you guys can refer to it, okay, in the outline. He talks a lot about that, okay? So another level is more on the individual level, because this is on the broad level, this is more narrow, is to be firmly in charge of our own affairs, for staying out of other people's business. The more you flirt, okay, the more. Okay, so that's common sense too, okay? But that's all very basic. But the deeper meaning is this, and this is very important with this word, wu wei, okay? So it doesn't mean, on a basic level, you can say, you're not manipulating, you're not interfering, okay, etc. You're not meddling. Okay, but the deeper meaning is this. Okay, in all of our conducts, from ourselves to that of government, that are non-conditioned, 无所作为, that are from our essence of the Buddha nature. Okay, so I say non-conditioned, it just means all whatever we do. Okay, so it has to be non-conditional. Okay, not what conditioned by our what self-interest, which I'll talk about the next line right here. Okay, it's to this, it's this. It's the opposite, 无为. You can say 无为 is any motivation, okay, means 有为, right? It's self-interest and self-benefit. 都是利益自己, okay? They will quickly disappear and will quickly change, right? Okay? So that's why we cannot conduct ourselves or conduct ourselves and govern a country with this. Understand? Because it's based on this and it's going to change, right? That's why every time, the U.S. gets involved, before, 50 years ago, they're killing Vietnam. They're bombing Vietnam, right? They're fighting Vietnam, right? I mean, today they want to be friends. Then that means all those people that died in the war died for nothing, right? Or useless, you can say senseless, okay? So everything changes. And because why? Everything the U.S. is doing is based on this, right? Or not just the U.S. I mean, but I use the U.S. because we're the superpower, right? But okay, it's all based on self-interest and self-benefit, right? Now we're talking about that's on a country level, but individually it's the same thing, right? Our self-interest and self-benefit will change, definitely will change, because self-interest and self-benefit is based on conditions, and conditions will always change, and they will disappear. They'll appear and disappear. Okay, all right. So we got to be very careful. So implication is if we do not cultivate in accordance with our true nature, I say 明明德, okay? I mean, the first 明 means to cultivate. I mean, 明, okay? You can say to realize, to cultivate. 明德 literally means illustrative virtue. It means our Buddha nature, okay? So the true nature, self-nature, okay? Then we are still the old habitual self, where all our conducts, actions are based on nothing more than self-interest and self-benefit, okay? So we gotta be careful, all right? So that's what this means, okay? So this is the fourth phrase now, okay? Fourth line or fourth phrase, yeah. Fourth pair. All right, if you notice, the first three pair, all this theme, getting rid of our worldly views, concentrating on, be with the one, return to the one, and embodying the one or embracing the one. These are all internal skill, internal kung fu. You can say kung fu, internal practice. You can say, yeah, that's internal practice, okay? And then this fourth pair is external, right here. Okay, this is external part, okay? Fourth pair. And there are two more pairs, and that's also external. So when Lao Tzu, laid out this chapter, he did it in a sequence in mind. So the first three pairs, there are 6 pairs, okay, at the front. Remember at the beginning I talked about the 6 pairs are one section, and then the last, I think, 5 phrases is another section. It's the conclusion, more or less, summary conclusion. So the first section, or top half, there are 12 phrases or 6 pairs. The first 3 pairs are internal. So Lao Tzu say we start from the internal first. Okay, very important. All right, we start from this first. Okay, we start learning this. Okay, understanding this. All right, all that. Then the next 3 pairs, starting from the 4th pair, is now we're applying it. We're displaying it. We're showing it. Okay, we're practicing it. You can say practicing. So that's the nei, the internal and external part. Okay, so that's the 4th pair. Now we're coming to the 5th pair. 5th pair is right here. Okay, so here's the translation. In the heavenly gates opening and closing. Well, what's that? I didn't know that there's, okay, anyway. All right, okay. So, okay, meaning of the first word, heaven, second word, or sky. Second word means door, gate. Third word means to open. 4th word, this means he, right? I think it's pronounced he. It means to close, to shut. or it can mean entire or whole. These are adjectives, I think, that all entire. Okay, but this is a verb. Okay, so the basic meaning is this. We should know that. We should know that. All right, it refers to our heavenly portal. It's already implied. Remember in the very top, right? In the very first phrase, the one, right? The one. Remember I talked about the one, right? The one. So the one is what? Internally, it's to embrace our first treasure, right? Okay. So this is the internal kung fu side first. Now he's talking about, how do we display it externally? How do we display it? Very interesting. How do we display it? Where are we? Okay, right here. Okay. Okay, the basic meaning, it refers to our heavenly portal. Okay, so we know that. And what we have to know is this, is that the heavenly gate is the essence of our Buddha nature. You can say that in our body's mystic portal. The mystical portal is the heavenly gate. Okay, so the Peter meaning means that. The opening and closing means it represents everything that enters and leaves our mystic portal. Okay, which is what? Our Buddha natures. Remember we talked about earlier about the Mahaprajna, the Miao Zihui, right? And that's what's coming. I mean, it's not literally from the heavenly gate, but it's just it's a representation that whatever comes out or leaves of our Buddha nature is the correct, it's the right thing, it's the proper, it's the best. Okay? All right, so all our actions should come from this. Okay? All right? So not from the old self, right? Remember? The old self, right? Not from that, right? Remember? Not from the previous, right? Phrase? Self-interest, self-benefit. Okay? That's the old self. That's not the new self or the new person. Okay? So, let's see. Okay, so it's connected. If you notice, all these phrases are linked. Okay? It's a sequence. Okay? All right. So then the question then to this is, in the workings, you can say the workings of our Buddha nature, or the display, you can say display. Okay. And this is an interesting phrase. The translation is this: can it be without the translation feminine principle? Okay. So this word "ci," right? "ci" means female, feminine, female. Okay. All right, one's a noun, I think they're both, one's noun, one's adjective, right? Doesn't matter. Okay, so basic meaning is this. Can the heavenly portal, which is remember, it's just representing, you can say, of our Buddha nature, Tao, okay? Buddha nature, it's a Buddha nature. Be without the yin principle, the feminine, remember, it's the yin principle. What's the yin principle? It's a major trait of a mother, you know that? Of a mother. Those of you who are mothers should know this. Okay, so another meaning of the yin principle, 慈. Okay, let's see, where am I? I'm looking at my notes here. Okay, 慈. All right. Okay. Okay, it means, it represents this. The feminine nature, i.e. motherhood, which is especially benevolent and merciful, right? Isn't a mother particularly benevolent and merciful to their infants? And even when the child grows up as an adult, they're still very benevolent and merciful towards them, right? Even though they're no longer infants, right? Okay, so it's a metaphor, okay, metaphor. All right, so the higher understanding is this. Doesn't motherhood, the feminine principle, which represents the feminine principle, have a certain kind of universal love, right? Doesn't motherhood have a certain kind of benevolence and mercifulness? Doesn't motherhood allow all living things to grow and multiply? Now, I'm talking about, this is physical mother, right? We say physical, I mean, mother, i.e. a female. Actually, it's the Tao. You can say it's the Tao, okay? It's a metaphor for the Tao. I mean, because okay, if Lao Tzu is saying, even though it doesn't mean necessarily means it's mother, okay? He's thinking, what's the mother of the universe? Mother of not just the humans, but mother of the universe, or the cosmos, okay? Of yin and yang, right? It's the Tao. So basically, the Tao has what? Universal love. It's benevolent and merciful. And it allows all things to grow and multiply without in, right? 生生不息, right? Right? 好生, we say 好生 means to, I don't know, it has a, literally it means tendency for existence, or sun for bringing things to existence, to grow, okay? All right, it just means that it has that. Remember we talked about what's a chapter, a previous chapter I talked about that, the cycle of nature, right? There's growth, development, aging, and then death. But then there's always regrowth again, right? So just like the 4 seasons, right? You know, we're now, entering summer now? We're near the end of spring, end of summer now. But before that was the winter. So winter is not the end. It's going to start again, a new cycle, you know, a new birth. So same idea, okay? All right. Deeper meaning, doesn't the Buddha nature have the qualities of this? Loving kindness, compassion, relinquishment, happy joy. The 4 measure are 四无量心. Okay? Same idea. All right? Okay? All right. So the key point is that all things that enter, or everything that enters and leaves the mystic portal, are all benevolent and merciful, and can benefit everybody, and can benefit the growth of all living things. Okay? Remember, just like that. Okay? Like they say, motherhood. Okay? Allow. But it's talking about the Tao. Okay? And our Buddha nature. You know, the Tao is the broad, at the very high level, broad level. At the individual level, it's our Buddha nature. Okay? And at a physical level or a shallow, basic understanding, it's motherhood. Okay? Or the feminine principle. Okay? All right. So that's what it means. So this is the 5th phrase. Okay? Fifth. Okay? This is all application now. This is the application, right? Or display, manifestation of our Buddha nature, or the one. You can say the one. Okay? All right. Then the last pair. Here it is. Okay, in understanding clearly all directions. Okay, that's a literal translation. So, 明白 literally means to understand, to know, to realize. Okay, the 3 and 4, the third word means four, quad, but da means to arrive, communicate, reach. Okay, all right, da. But actually, the last 2 words are shortened from the phrase 四通八达, which means all directions, everywhere. You can say everywhere, all directions. Okay. All right, 四通八达. All right, comes from that. Okay, so the deep, but then now these are all shallow or basic interpretation or definition. Okay, but there's a deeper understanding of clearly. Okay, 明白, understanding clearly. It means this. Okay, it's something that's pure, that's extremely bright, and that's not tainted. Okay, or non-stainable, pure and non-stainable. So it's referring to our Buddha nature, actually. But anyway, okay. So another understanding is this: if we are able to, are we able? Remember, this is a question mark. This is a phrase. This is the last pair, okay, of the 6 pairs. Whether we are able to let our Buddha nature return to its bright purity. Okay, return to its, literally means bright, spotless, right here. Okay. Okay, it's purity. Okay, it means pure, pureness. Just like that infant, remember, innocent, etc., etc. Okay, all right. So the deeper understanding is this: we need to establish ourselves a subjective awareness. That's our own awareness. That's what I mean by subjective, which is not to have anything negative. Okay, 没有负面的. Okay, negative. Okay, we say negative, and not to come into contact with bad things or negative. Since after coming in contact with bad things, we can be unwittingly or unconsciously influenced by them. So that's very important. Okay, that's very important. All right. So that's another understanding of 明白. Okay, 明白. All right. Okay. So the implication is this: we want to let our Buddha nature, our bright, perfect Buddha nature, to return to its original brightness, undefiled and untainted. Okay, all right. This is really misnomer because it's already this untainted. It's just that we have what? Desire. Remember, selfish interests, self-benefits, all that stuff. That does not allow our Buddha nature to be this or to display this. Okay, all right. So the key point is this: we need to let the brightness of our Buddha nature. Okay, the brightness, okay, 光明. It's the Buddha nature. Manifests throughout the entire cosmic void. Okay, 整个宇宙虚空, the entire cosmic void is permeated, or you can say filled, penetrated, 贯通, right? 贯通, penetrated by our Buddha nature and its brightness. That is the true state of oneness. Okay? All right, remember, we go back to that one, okay, the very first phrase, right? All right, so that's the last. So this is the, wait, sorry, there's a second. There's the question, okay? The question. So this is the eighth pair already, right? The sixth phrase, okay? Okay, sixth sentence, okay? So then the question is, can one be without intellectuality? Yeah, okay, as opposed to knowledge. I didn't want to say knowledge, but anyway. Okay, so the meaning of the third word means knowledge. It can mean knowledge. Be aware, realize, okay? And the basic meaning of this is, can one have no knowledge or understanding? That's very basic, okay? That's what the meaning means, okay? But actually, the understanding is this. It's this. When I say knowledge, no knowledge, understand, it's not to use our resourcefulness. That's 机智. You can say cleverness, yeah, 机智, which means not to use cleverness, 聪明的意思, not to rely on cognitive comparison and inference, 比量, such as deductive or inductive, 演绎 or 归纳. Okay, these are logic. This is logic now. Okay, this is logic, right? Sherlock Holmes is excellent in deductive reasoning. Newton and Einstein, they're great on inductive reasoning. Okay, most scientists are good at this. All right? Okay? So this is, we should not use this. Interesting. So he says, I'm stupid then, because you mean I can't reason? All right, so this is at a very, all right, so, because these are all cleverness, okay? So we think it's real. I mean, it is real in one sense, okay? But it's not the best, the highest, maybe that's a better term. It's not the highest level, okay? All right, because the highest level, which we'll get down to later, towards the conclusion, we already talked about, remember we already talked about a little bit up front, up on top. Remember I said, where is it? Oh, geez, where is it? I hate reading this. Yeah, the truth, silver, even before that. Yeah, right here. 无知无觉, neither space and time. Okay, that's the highest level. Okay, all right. We're not constrained. Our Buddha nature is not constrained or limited by space-time, or Whereas this, right here. Whereas, where are we? Okay, where are we? Right here. 比量 is constrained, so by space-time. So it's cleverness. Understand? Okay. And something that's acquired, okay? Something that's not innate, okay? Something external. So here's a deeper meaning. This is very important of 无知. Right? When we talk about 无知 here, right? 无知, okay? All right, the deeper meaning is this. It does not mean ignorant. Like I say, I know nothing, right? I can't think. You mean I can't think? I can't use deductive reasoning or inductive reasoning? Okay, doesn't mean ignorant or know nothing, okay? It means do not display subject-object duality, where there's nothing to know, nor there's what not knows. Whoa. Okay. Understand? Subject-object. We say 能所. Okay. So in our Buddha nature glossary, we translate as subject-object. And the reason is because there's a you, right? You, subject is you, me, you, okay? And then the object, it's something external, right? So knowledge, experience, information, data, etc., etc. So that's duality. That becomes a duality. And when it becomes a duality, it gets what? Constrained or limited by space and time. Get it? So all this duality, object, even subject will change because it's dualistic over time, right? It'll change. What you view things, we have experience. Think about it. When we're younger, our views of the world are different than our views today when we're older. I hope. and why is that different? Because over time, conditions change. We get older, we learn more, or we experience more, or we have more wisdom, etc., right? So change. And then object, the external part, they also change, right? 20 years ago, New York City, well, maybe 20 years ago, it's not good enough. 50 years ago, New York City, at least the roads weren't that crowded. It doesn't take us 2 hours to drive to work in New York City. Today, it takes 2-3 hours to drive to work. Because why? Conditions change. So object reality, or subject object, it's not permanent. So that's why a lot of quantum physicists says there's no such thing as object reality. There is subject reality because it's the observer. We're the observer, subject, right? It's the observer. You're the doer, okay? Or the viewer, the observer. You always exist, right? Or we say we always exist. Or the viewer exists, right? Because without the viewer, the objects are not meaningful. Why is there to talk? What about? There's no need, right? Okay. So the viewer, object, that's us, the subject, okay, with the observer. We view things, right? External. So according to quantum mechanics, objective reality is always changing at the quanta level, obviously, right? Remember, the famous, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, right, et cetera. The whose cat? Schrodinger's cat or whatever. As a matter of fact, he's trying to, that's a background. I don't want to get into too much. But anyway, okay, so they're all talking about that. Objective reality is subject to conditions. That's what I'm saying, okay? So where there's nothing to know, that's interesting. That's why there's nothing to know. Because those objective reality or external knowledge, etc., it's not real. It's changing, always changing. So it could be infinite possibilities. Infinite possibilities. So it's not real. Get it? So that's why there's nothing to know, the objective, nor is there what one knows. So that means, but nothing to know means as a subject, as a viewer, there's nothing to know for the viewer. Because why? All the objective reality or external, it's not real. So that's why there's not, nor is there what one knows. Okay, so that's subject, object. Okay, nothing to know and what one knows. Okay, so that's subject, object. All right, that's one way to write. So 没有能知，没有所知。So that's why it's 能所. Okay, so there's nothing for the subject to know, and there's nothing that the subject will know. All right, okay. So this is all metaphysics, really. Okay, so because there's no, I think I'm missing a verb here, but doesn't matter. Because no subject of reality is already within the absolute essence. Yeah, okay, that's the verb. So what we're trying to get at is that in the absolute essence, there's no such thing as subject-object duality. Remember, all is one, right? That one we talk about, okay? All right. So within the absolute essence, there is no duality. There's no subject-object duality. That is a very extremely ideal state to reach the original state, i.e. the absolute state, okay? 究竟状态, okay? So that is, you can say that's the true state, or you can say that's the Dharma Dhatu. Remember that they say that's the absolute reality. Okay, it's also the original state. Okay, that's the original state. When I'm talking about original, it means original of our Buddha nature. Okay, not the physical body. Okay. All right. So the key point is this: we need to realize the Tao first. All right. Get to know, to realize, okay? Get to know the Tao, to know, that's the literal term. It means to realize the Tao. Because it's not just knowledge, okay? Not just knowledge to know, okay? It's really to realize, to practice, to internalize it, and then to display it, to practice it, okay? So we can reach the absolute essence or oneness, okay? In reaching the absolute essence, then there is nothing we do not know. There is nothing we are not aware of. That is the most ideal state. So what Lao Tzu, after all these, 6 pairs, this is the 12th phrase. It's telling us that, hey, we can reach that level. So very interesting, huh? So in the subject-object duality, interesting, huh? There is, well, what does this say? There's nothing to know, and nor there's what one knows. And yet, in the absolute state, there is nothing we do not know, and there's nothing we are not aware of. Very interesting. Why? Remember I said, we talked about here, the previous phrase right here? Previous phrase. The entire cosmic void is permeated by our Buddha nature and its brightness. So there is nothing that we do not know, and there's nothing we are not aware of. Make sense? Right? Makes sense, right? There is nothing we do not know because we are everywhere, or we fill the entire cosmos. Get it? It's filled, permeated, fill. We say fill, or you can say the entire cosmos is, you can say, within our Buddha nature or part of our Buddha nature. Yeah, you can look like that, and it's bright. So that means we're aware. Okay, it's not dark. It's not vague. Okay, it's dark. So that means what? There is nothing we do not know. There's nothing we are not aware of. Very interesting, huh? That's okay. So that's the last pair. Now we come to the conclusion. So this is all external too, right? This is external, right? These are external part, right? This is the application, you can say, function, application of our Buddha nature. If we can reach the one, right? Internally, we cultivate, we strive to reach that level, and then boom, we can display it here, okay? All right. Or we can reach this state, external manifestation, okay? All right, let's go to a conclusion. Hey, how much time do I have? I think I'm all overboard, right?
Just a few minutes.
Oh, geez, okay. Okay, here's the conclusion. Bearing it and rearing it, okay? Literally means to be born. This means of it, okay? This is 出, right? This means 出. 出 means to raise. To raise. It also... yeah, it means to raise, to rear. Yeah, it also means this. It also means... No, 它是个动词跟名词都可以, okay? This is the noun. The noun means domestic animal. The verb means to raise. You know that? To bring up, to rear. That's why it says rearing it, okay? The basic meaning is this. The physical realm, this physical world, allows us, all living beings, to grow, develop, and to sustain. 持续, right? To sustain. To, that means, propagate. Propagate, yeah, okay. Okay, the deeper meaning is this. The Tao allows all things to grow. Okay, so at the shadow level, we view it from the 凡尘, meaning from the earthly perspective, right? This is the earthly perspective. Yeah, we view nature. We say, hey, yeah, everything that Mother Nature allows, or the world allows, animals to grow, develop, and continue, and sustain, right? And, procreate, right? But then actually it's the Tao that allows it, okay? All right. So the deeper meaning is this. By developing good thoughts, then we can nurture all those thoughts into deeds. So this is more internal now, okay? So the key point is we must apply ourselves in this manner, okay? All right, so that's very, very basic, okay? Now comes the next three pairs, which is kind of like summarize, if you will, the previous 12 phrases or the 6 pairs, remember we talked about? Okay. So bearing without possession, okay? So it's coming from here, bearing and rearing, okay? It's coming from there. This is kind of like the intro phrase right here in the conclusion. And this is the next. Okay, I don't need to go to it. You guys can read this, okay? It means not to have, okay? So the basic meaning is this. Even though nature, allows things to grow, etc., to develop and continue, but it's not possessive. So we should not be possessive of what we created. So what it means what we created, the most logical, obvious is children, when we raise our children, right? To raise children is a parental obligation, which is true, but we should not be possessive of them. 不要去拥它. 拥 means to possess, have possession, like an object, okay? 义务, right? This is 义务 means obligation, okay? All right. So the deeper meaning is this. That's the external side, okay? By not possession means we are not selfish, always thinking of our self-interest, okay? So that's the internal side, okay? Internal. So the key point is this. Our Buddha nature is the same. It's always there, and it always is. So why do we need to claim it? We already have it, right? We just can't see it, and maybe not feel it, but we can sense it. And that's why if you do the above, those 6 phrases, then you'll know, or you'll understand that, hey, you and the Buddha nature are one. Get it? So there's no need to possess, to want things. Get it? Okay, and then also we talk about chapter, or what chapter? It's talked about non-selfishness. I think it was chapter 7. Yeah, unselfishness. It talks about this too, all right? Okay, a little bit. Okay, all right. Then the next one is achieving without arrogance, okay? In this case, wei, it's a verb. It's a verb now, okay? It means to become, to mean. It also means to achieve, okay? Si, right? This word si means to be proud, to boast. It also means to depend, to rely on. But it also means to be proud, okay? And that means it's a noun or adjective. I think it means adjective, right? Noun, yeah, pride is the noun, okay? So the basic meaning is this: to achieve and not to boast. That's the basic meaning, just surface, on the surface. So it means in all our actions or conducts, we do not rely on circumstances, power, force, influence, conditions, connections, whatever. Okay, 不靠势. Okay, 势 literally just means strength, force, strength, okay? But it just means that for ourselves, we do not rely on these things because these are all external things. Get it? Subject to change or based on karma. You can say based on karma. We do not rely on that. What do we need to rely on? It's our Buddha nature, obviously. Remember, right? Okay, from 3. Okay, so the deeper understanding is this. After we have accomplished something, most of the time, we tend to think that only we are capable of achieving it, while others are incapable of achieving it. So that's why we can do it. Make sense? See, this is a very, very egocentric view. 自我, right? Very 自我, very egocentric. So that's the problem. So that's why we cannot boast. We have to be very, very careful. Okay? So whatever we accomplish, we must not be boastful, be too full of ourselves. Okay? Because that's dangerous, right? When we have ego, right? Okay? Because that's no longer part of our Buddha nature. Okay? Okay, then the second to the last phrase. 长儿, okay? But 在, right? This means 在, 主宰的在, yeah. So growing up, raising without domination, okay? So the first word means to grow, to raise, to grow. 在 means to, it can be a verb, or it's a verb in this case. Or it can be a noun. No, that's a noun. This is an adjective, sorry. Adjective or verb, okay? It means to control, to dominate, to dictate, to go. Okay, so basic meaning is this: to grow without domination, grow and develop. Okay, that's basic. What does that mean? Okay, deeper understanding is this: the Tao allows all things to grow, but do not control them. Okay, so example, implication. Okay, like now this is from the external side, right? To like the basic meaning. Okay, when we are instructing our children, we always like to help them to decide. We enable them to grow up, but do not dominate them. They have to be their own masters. They have to develop their own interests. They have to pursue their own interests. We can give them suggestions, help them in their decisions, or consult with them. So same thing, right? When we're raising the children, our own children, a lot of times we spoil them. Not spoil them. What's that term, Ty? They call it tiger moms. Is that what they call it? Tiger mom?
Yeah.
Means you basically plot out their whole path, Ty, from the time when they're young all the way time to when they're gonna die, right? Isn't that true? Basically, you have everything planned out for them. Say, oh, I want them to get the best education, to get the best food, best clothes, blah blah blah, all that stuff planned out for them. Is that true? Right? Believe you me, the children they're gonna be dominated, right? So a lot of children don't like that, right? So they resent that, right? So we got to be careful as parents. So the key point is this: just as the Tao presides, 主席. I mean, it's like 主席means you're in charge overall. You're the head, top. Yet it does not control them. So similarly, we should also develop others without controlling them. All right? So that's the application. So that's the summary. Now remember, this 3 phrases here, this is the intro. The 3 phrases in the conclusion piece summarizes those 12 pairs, 12 pairs, 6 phrases, okay, that we talked about earlier, the internal, external side. Then comes the final conclusion. All of this, if we could do this, right, bearing without possession, achieving without ignorance, raising without domination, this is called the mystic virtue, okay? Remember Shen, we talked about that earlier, okay? Now, the basic meaning, this is basic, just very basic, okay? Superficial. It's all this, okay? Sages, enlightened beings. It means us too, okay? If you are enlightened, if you're with the one, Tao, then you are sage. Have 4 components. We have wisdom, remember? Mahaprajna, right? We have Wu Wei, right? We have virtuous nature, and we are Jing, or calm. Remember that state of what? Stillness, remember? Unperturbedness, right? Okay, so the deeper meaning is this. The Tao produces, nourishes, and sustains, but do not claim them. Okay, that's for this. That's the summary of this. That's this right here. Okay, that's it. Does not claim them. Right? Okay. The Tao achieves all and does not boast of it. That's from this. No arrogance. Right? You achieve it, but that's it. It just, then you move on. Remember, just like water, we talked about that in chapter 8, right? Chapter 8, right? Be like water, right? Okay, same thing. Okay, then the last one, the Tao presides over all without dominating. That's this, okay? If we could do this, all right? So in this way, the Tao is marvelous, mystical, inexhaustible, heavenly virtue, okay? 玄玄不穷尽, okay? That's the mystical, marvelous, mystical, inexhaustible, limitless, okay? Limitless, 不穷尽, okay? 穷尽, okay? 不穷尽, okay? Limitless. So, key point, we must allow our Buddha nature to be our master. Let it guide our actions, so our actions will be just appropriate without attachment, arrogance, or domination. That is the limitless heavenly virtue. Okay? All right, and then you know what the appendix is for the 2 barriers, okay? All right, I think that's about everything. I said a long time. Oh, man. Okay, I took the whole class?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, good, thanks. All right, okay, so I'm stopping here, and if you have any questions, we can talk about it, but I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, the mercy, the virtues of masters, and mercy of the predecessors, transmitters, and temple masters who give me this opportunity to talk about this topic. And if I say anything wrong, I ask for the Buddha's forgiveness.
Yeah. Only one comment here. This is Mark. Yeah. When we do things without motive and with motives, there's a big difference. When we do things with motives, that means they will become our fortune in this lifetime or future lives.
Karma, it'll create karma, yeah.
Yeah, and then that's limited.
Yeah.
But if we do things, do the good deeds without motives, they will become part of our Buddha nature.
Yes.
Become our virtues too.
Yes, virtuous nature, yes.
That's unlimited. So
Yes.
very, very critical to do things without motives.
So that's why Wu Wei is very important, right? We say Wu Wei. So when we say Xing Gong, when we're performing merits, right? Merits, we have to have this Wu Wei the Xing, right? Right? Then that becomes unlimited virtuous merit. Whereas if you have Yo Wei Xing, right? Then it becomes your karma, karmic reward in a future life.
And also become our fortunes too.
Yeah. So very important, very important. Okay. Yeah. So anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, but this is a lot of information, all talking about Buddha nature, right?
Yeah.
But on the surface, it's hard to tell, right? On the surface, you get a hint, but actually, it does not deviate from the Buddha nature.